Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts. The show that helps entrepreneurs, small business owners tell us a little bit about who they are and what makes them special and unique and what they do and how they help the people that they help, and just give them a chance to have some video content to introduce themselves to their audience. And we do this in a really easy, straightforward manner. This is actually going to be, I believe, episode 59. And we've been at this for 3 years now. 3 years now. We've been doing Meet the Experts for 3 years. That's crazy. Over 3 years. If you want to be a guest on Meet the Experts, I'll tell you how at the end of today's episode. And without further ado, today's episode, my guest today is John Papaloni. John is here today to tell us how he helps people like you with your investment and real estate needs. He is our third Canadian guest, as a matter of fact, and all of our Canadian guests always seem to be in Ontario. But anyway, without further ado, let me get John up on the screen. John, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great, and it's so good to get to talk to you. I love all my Canadian friends. I have several Canadian friends, and you guys are just the nicest, just kind of, and even if you don't want to be nice, you're still somehow politely nice, and who knows what you might say in private, but it's always nice to talk to somebody from Toronto.
Awesome. Yeah, I found that funny when you said, all your Canadian guest seems to be out of Ontario.
Yeah, I think all three are 2 are Toronto and 1 was from further north in Ontario. So, well, cool. John, tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm a serial entrepreneur, like you said as well. I started off in the marketing business, believe it or not. I didn't really fit into the whole job thing. I kind of like to, I don't know, maybe I just don't take orders very well or something. But so I've always been into the serial entrepreneurship. I sold my marketing business, and then I took a little bit of a hiatus when my parents got ill. Then I thought, what am I going to do with myself? That's how I got into real estate. I seemed to find that real estate was my consistent, and it seems to be the sort of way to build wealth and generational wealth, and it's the one consistent thing that doesn't really change. So I thought it was a good avenue for me, and then that's where it led me to build up Papaloni Capital, which is my investment firm.
All right, so you've got you're doing the real estate side of things, and then the investment side. So can you maybe share some of the main products and services, like in detail, and actually who do you help?
Absolutely. It's obviously a double whammy here with in terms of the real estate portion of it, like in terms of the real estate agency part. I mean, I have an agent, realtor's license as well as a mortgage license, and I just help people basically in the Ontario market, because that's where I'm licensed, to be able to help them find homes and get the funding for that. Papaloni Capital actually basically helps investors who want to basically may not have whether it's the credit or whether the desire to get into rental properties. They may want to be in the rental properties but not want to be active in it and want to manage it, so they would rather do a joint venture with somebody and have somebody else manage the property. And that's where Papaloni Capital comes in, and we basically invest not just in Ontario. That's where I can expand past Ontario. Papaloni Capital Inc. goes all the way to anywhere from border to border in Canada, and I have a division opening up with a C Corp in the United States, probably in early 2024.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good expansion to partner up. I love joint ventures. I'm glad you talked about that. You said something a minute ago about, just not being very employable, right, as an entrepreneur. And I chuckle because it's like the 4th time or 5th time on an episode where I've had that exact same conversation with a guest where we're talking about, like, just not be like, if we were hired, we're probably the greatest employee that company could ever have, but we're miserable, and because we're like, why am I doing this for somebody else? I could do this for myself, right? And we become like unemployable.
Well, this is the thing, right? I'm very high energy, very, snap, 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 go, 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 full of ideas, full of, like excitement and all that. And then trying to follow that corporate ladder where I got the ideas and like, yeah, we'll get back to you. It's like, well, what do you mean we'll get back to you? It's like, let's go. Right. So not everyone
I
can
love
handle
it.
that energy.
Absolutely. And drawing from your experience with real estate and then investments. So do you focus mostly on it, with the real estate side? Are you mostly just a residential realtor helping people in your community?
Absolutely. That's my main focus. And even on the investment side, it's kind of the same thing. Here's what I mean by that. Like I really like helping people find their homes because people have that sense of excitement when they get their keys and they know they got a new place to live. And people have to live somewhere no matter what. They just have that big smile, that joy, and they got all these plans and you know what I mean? And I like sharing that excitement with them. And that's why I focus on the residential side. And where I mean by it's the same for the investment. I mean, investments I try, at least now, I'm trying to get into the multifamily. I was doing single family homes in 2022 when the interest rates started going up. I unloaded everything, including the house I lived in. And I'm going to reinvest into multifamily. And that was one of my things. But the thing is, multifamily is still homes, even though it's considered commercial, it is still homes. I don't really like the actual commercial space like office space, industrial, retail. I don't like that stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just don't understand it. So I always believe
Right.
invest in stuff you understand and then the things that I can answer with my eyes closed.
Sure. That's interesting that you say that. Now, are multifamily homes commercial in the U.S. as well? They're
That
considered
is,
commercial?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anything above 6 homes. I think Canada's 5. I think the US is 6. I could be
Oh,
wrong. It
wow.
might be vice versa, but anything. So for safety reasons, we'll say anything more than 6 units is
Yeah.
considered commercial.
Commercial, interesting. Now, I have seen residential real estate agreements, and I have seen commercial real estate agreements, and I too am just blown away and baffled by everything that goes into the commercial side of things. There's like triple net this, and there's like all this different language and all these different terms and all these different things, and it's usually like a long-term thing. It's not, residential, either you're buying the home, you're purchasing it, or even on the rental, it's like, oh, here's your 1 year lease. And then on commercial, you've got like 5 years and this guarantee and this. And I'm like, well, I'm just blown away. So,
Well, that's the thing,
how,
right?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing, right? And that's one of the reasons I don't like commercial or understand it. I mean, I took the course. I am legally able to sell it. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'll give you an example. You take a Starbucks, and you just say you put 1,000 square foot. You put a Starbucks in it, or we'll say it's a home first. Actually, we'll use the residential. You put 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and just say it's worth 500,000. Now all of a sudden you change that. You take out the bedrooms, you put in a counter, you put in a back restaurant, kitchen, and then you get rid. Just leave the bathrooms, put a bunch of tables, install Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden that's a $5 million building. And you're going, it's the same damn space. You know what I mean? Like it's just like to me, I just have trouble fathoming it. I know it has to do with cap rates and income, but just the logic, it isn't there for me. And the reason I
Yeah.
can do multifamily because it's still residential, you're still dealing with rents. Now, with a Starbucks, your rent might be $9,000 a month until you make $2 million, and anything more than $2 million, now you're paying a percentage to the landlord. And I'm looking at it and going, wait a minute. If I'm the one taking the risk, why are you taking a percentage of my profits? What
Right.
does this have to do with you? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And now the theory is that they're giving you a rent discount, and I'm looking at it going, $9,000 a month doesn't sound like a discount to me.
You need a discount double check on that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I just can't fathom it. So that's why I stay away from it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, that's good. It's good I also think it's good that you kind of like, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, that we kind of stay in our lanes, right? We know who we serve, we know who we help, and we kind of really focus in on that. But so I'm sure you've helped lots of people. Has anyone ever said, I always say this, can you share a customer win or a testimonial? Anybody ever said anything to you that like you just think about all the time and it kind of keeps you going, keeps you motivated?
Well, testimony win. I mean, I've had a lot of wins actually. It's one of those things that I'll give you a couple of stories. One story, I was actually selling my own condo. Like my very first real estate investment was a condo, and I was selling my own. And it just happened to be at that peak where we started getting into that madness back in 2017. And that madness was just beginning where, multiple offers and stuff like that. I sold the highest in the building and I sold it in 5 hours. Um, And the reason why I said that was a win, it was so bad. So many other realtors were pissed. I even got as much as death threats. And
My
because they
goodness.
thought it was something crooked, underhanded. Like the guy who gave me a death threat swore his head off at me, death threat and everything. And, oh, I'm going to come visit you, whatever, all the stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? I knew the guy was just angry and blowing off steam. So I didn't really take it too serious. Today it might have been different. I might have taken it more serious because things weren't as crazy back then.
Right.
But with that being said, he called me back a couple hours later. He goes, oh my God, I just realized that was your own. I thought there was something underhanded and crooked going on. And I just got off, right? Because I had to share bad news to my client again. Right. And he goes, and he apologized. So, and that was that. So that was one win, right? Because I knew I
Yeah,
did
sure.
something. And then that was the start of a trend. Right. So then another time, it's sort of like, I helped a person buy a condo in Burlington, which is just west of Toronto.
Uh-huh.
And I remember, again, we're in the bidding wars, and I don't know what possessed me, but I just made a call to the agent. We had a conversation. I said, I do realize we're in a bid, and I do realize it's very competitive, but I'm going to have a financing condition. But this is the price I'm coming in, but I will have a financing condition. I goes, but I do know my clients. I'm going to be honest. I don't think we need one. I'm just putting it in because just a safety net because this is their first home. Right? We had a whole conversation and we asked questions. They asked me about the finances and I got deep into what I knew. So, and I thought, okay, we're going to lose this one. Calls me back up and offer accepted. I won out of everybody. And it wasn't even like the price was in line. It's not like the listing was 500,000 and I came in at 600,000 and everybody else came
Right.
in at 400,000. No. If I came in at 550, everybody else was either 548, 551. It was like
Right.
we're all around the same area. He said the reason he chose me is because I not just that I called him, but I knew my client's finances. Where when he had conversations with everybody else, their pretty much answers were, I don't know. And you know what I mean? So I just I knew the information before I submitted, and it was very informative. So I gave him the confidence to be able to go with my offer, and we did close. So it was no issue. And it was kind of like the look on the face when they got that condo after losing twice. It was worth it.
Awesome. That's it. That's exactly it. I mean, it's just thinking about making people happy in what we do. I think I can tell you have a real passion for that. And it's something that you and I definitely have in common. Let's talk about how you earned it, learned it, improved your authority. Like what did it take for you to become a real estate professional and an investor? Was there any classes or courses that you took or any certifications you needed?
Well, to get the license, you have to be in a course. It is more grueling because it's long, not so much the information. Now, some of the information we learned in the beginning, and I was like, why do I need to know this? I'm selling the houses. I'm not in construction. But they actually made us learn the materials, and like I can actually tell the difference between hardwood and laminate, and the differences in roofs and the way they should look and when it's peeling. And I'm like, why do I need to know this? I'm not the construction guy. I'm not the contractor. This is a waste of time. So I thought,
Right.
right? And I
So
said, well, they're not going to give me a license unless I pass these courses. So whatever. And so I was agitated with it. Being in the industry now, and I'm looking at that, and sometimes people have questions and like, hey, I know the answer to this. I didn't realize I needed to know the answer to this, but I do. And it's sort of
yeah.
like, and you kind of grasp it that way. And then as you have more experience, and that comes through constant, you're constantly learning, right? I go to conferences, I network with people all the time, and I constantly learn, pick up booklets and pamphlets and read them. I constantly read. I read about 24 books a year. And
Wow. Okay.
so I'm always striving to learn more, and things change, and you have to pay attention to the changes because sometimes materials changes. Look, even plumbing, right? Like once upon a time we used to use copper, then we got into what's called Kitech plumbing. Kitech plumbing is very bad. It's usually one of those things where you go on vacation and realize that your house is flooded when you come home. And so now they're using what's called PEX. Now PEX and Kitech look almost exactly the same, like is they're both the blue and whatever. Now the difference you can tell is the serial code on on the pipes. You can tell which one it is. On top of that, the Kitech had what it is on the inside of the plastic. There's a metal thing, and that rust or comes loose and it pops out, and then that's when water goes everywhere. Now, PEX, they fixed that and they got rid of that piece, so it's not a problem. Now, I'm sure I don't know everything about it, but the point is I know enough to be able to identify it and say, "Ooh, this is something that has to be addressed." Now, that came from experience. When I first got in, I had my blinders on, shield, and I just went in there. Never thought it was important. Tried to just get through it. As time goes by, that makes me the we call the knowledge broker, and that's the value proposition. I'll know stuff that the average incoming person will not know. I'll know what to look for, so you can be prepared.
I just want to write down knowledge broker. I think that right there is a massive, advantage that sets you apart because, I think we sometimes undervalue or devalue our knowledge, right? And how much we've learned and how much we do. And I'm a lifelong learner as well. And I feel like sometimes we either, we don't place enough of a premium on our knowledge and how we disseminate that, like how we broker that, right?
Yep.
Where did you get that term knowledge broker? Where did that come from?
Well, to be honest, one of the coaches out there that in real estate is a guy by the name of Tom Ferry, and I happen to pay attention to a lot of his stuff. And I think he was the first one who used the knowledge broker, and I just added my spin to it, but it's the same kind of meaning.
I think that's awesome. I love that. All right, cool. I've got just a couple more questions for you, not necessarily quick. A couple more questions for you. This one is one that I ask every single guest because for me, it just sets my perspective, gives me a little bit more to think about in life in general. And it's kind of not really real estate related necessarily. But John, if I said, what is something you're thankful for, personally, professionally, whatever it is, tell me some things you're thankful for.
Life and opportunity, right? Like it's one of those things we take life so for granted. Like it's what else can I say about that? We take it for granted. We assume that every day is going to be a brand new day and we're going to wake up every day, and reality is that's not going to be true one day. And usually when we get sick is when we analyze it and go, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. So I'm just grateful. I've been blessed. I mean, we're in North America, whether it's the United States or Canada, we're in North America. There's a lot of ailments and a lot of issues that the rest of the world have that we don't have because we're here. And there's plenty of opportunity if we're willing to work for it and go after our dreams. And I'm very thankful and grateful for that.
Awesome. I love that. I love every time I ask that question, I always love the answer because it's always just something else that you're like, yeah, that is something. I think it keeps me grounded. I think that's one of the reasons I like asking it. It's a selfish question, right? I want to hear what everybody else is thankful for. All right. Last question. Take your time on this one. Being in real estate, we've talked about some of the challenges, the different things to learn about, to know about, to understand. I'm sure that there are one or two questions that you get asked by every single person that you come in contact with looking at either buying a house or selling a house, or maybe some objections that you hear. What are some of those frequently asked questions that you get as a realtor?
What are you going to do with my money once you steal it from us by selling our home? And where are you going to go and drink, and what beach are you going to be on? And I always say, I'm going to go to Maui, or I'm going to go to Florida and sip margaritas. No, but honestly speaking, there's a lot of times people, that's always the joke. Let's be honest, I'm in an industry where people think we're overpaid, and I think they don't always understand the value we're bringing. And that is where the true successful agent will be able to explain that and make people understand what you're doing and not leave that impression that we're on, Maui sipping margaritas with their money. So right. A lot of the questions we have is about the process now. And it's one of those things that most people know what's going to happen. You're going to list your home. You're going to make sure it's nice and tidy, staged, looking good, clutter free. And you're going to have people walking through the house to determine if they like it enough to put in an offer. But people are scared. So sometimes you have to reiterate the process and you have to assure them that that it is a normal process, and that it doesn't have to be that painful. So the more you educate someone and the more you make them understand it, the less fearful they are. I mean, it's still stressful. Let's not lie and pretend that just because I educated them, they're not stressed. It's still stressful, but it's a process, and a process that they were in once upon a time when they went to buy that place, and that it's going to be all okay and it's going to work out, and they're going to be able to move on to the next thing.
Love it. I love it. John, you gave us so much to think about today. And what I found, I've interviewed realtors before, and I've actually coached a few with their marketing, not coaching them on being a realtor. That's not me. But some of the things that you said, I think it takes a special person to actually be a successful realtor. It's not just, and I don't believe that just, anybody can do it. I think you have to have certain traits. You have to want to help people. You have to want to, have to always be learning and educating yourself and being able to point out and notice things inside of properties that might be a potential pitfall. And I could tell just from the way you described everything that you are one of those people. Any final words for our guests or for yours that you'd want to talk about if they need help?
Absolutely. In life, everything is tough. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Doesn't matter what you do in life. Everything comes with challenges. The difference between succeeding and failing is how you handle those challenges. Know that you're going to come up with challenges. Just be prepared to learn and grow. And when someone asks you something and you don't know the answer, I don't know is not an answer, and don't lie or fake it till you can make it. What you should say instead is, I don't have that answer for you right this second, but I know where to look for it. Let me get back to you. I'll get back to you in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a day, whatever it is, and I'll get you the answer you need, and I'll get you the proper answer. This way, it shows that you're just willing to work your butt off to make sure that your client is helped. And when they see that you care, and they tend to care, and if they tend to care, then they want to deal with you because they know you, like you, and trust you, and they can see how much you care about them.
Awesome answer. John Papaloni, Toronto-based realtor, serial entrepreneur, helping you with your investment, your home. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, John, email's best, right? We give John at johnpapaloni.com. Is that always the best way?
It's a great way to reach me. That's a good way.
Awesome. John, thanks for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. Awesome. That was so much fun. Love having guests, international guests. I think it's always exciting to get to talk to people in different countries. Sometimes we live in this world that sometimes we want to hyper localize, but yet there's a big world out there with lots of people. And to find out that the real estate industry in Canada is probably not that different than the US, but it does become very apparent when you're talking with real estate agents that you have a good one who continues to learn, continues to improve, continues to learn their craft and work with somebody good. So it was great to have John on. I told you at the beginning of the episode, if you would like to be a future guest on Meet the Experts, it doesn't cost you anything. We'd love to have you on an interview. It helps us grow our network. All you need to do is go to www.meettheexpertspodcast.com. It's scrolling down on the ticker below, www.meettheexpertspodcast.com, and go ahead and read through the information and apply to be a guest. It's, like I said, doesn't cost you anything, and we'll give you the video when we're done, and you can use it in your marketing. So if you've ever been one of those business owners that's like, I know I need video, but I just don't know, I'm not good at it. I don't know, I don't like the sound of my own voice. It's too hard, right? Go fill out the application and be a guest. We'll make it so easy for you to have some great content for your business. But until our next episode, it's been real and it's been fun, and I hope everyone's having a great summer. We'll talk soon on our next episode of Meet the Experts. Take care.